Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, guess what? First of all, happy Friday, and hopefully we'll see you later on this afternoon during our live stream. But I have great news. I am all caught up on my emails, alright? Not only am I caught up on my Intel account, but I'm also caught up on my regular email account where people send questions and comments. So what I thought I would do is I would take some of those questions that I was asked and go ahead and answer them here in a video, because you know that usually when a person has a question, usually there's a lot of other people that have that same question, but they just never ask. So let's go ahead and start off with the first one. I have some small investments in stock, and I want to take them out and invest in physical silver. What are your thoughts on 1 ounce coins versus junk silver coins, especially considering barter versus purchase after an SHTF event? Well, first of all, let me start off with saying that I think that silver, or in my opinion, and of course remember, I'm not a financial advisor, all right? I'm just telling you what I think and what I do. In my opinion, silver or gold or anything like that is really not intended to be used for during an SHTF, but to preserve any excess wealth that you have stored in that silver or gold after the crisis is over, once the economy picks back up. Okay? So what I would say is this: if I were first starting out and buying physical silver, we'll stick with silver, okay? Because we're talking about someone that's first starting out, and the question primarily revolves around silver. If I was first starting out, I would really like to get myself a lot of these constitutional or junk silver, right? There's a few reasons why. Why? Because they're very easily recognizable. You can easily tell whether these are 90% silver or not, all right, by the date on them and by the way they sound and the way they look. All right, these coins, if you take a look at the circumference around it, you'll see that there's no copper plating anywhere. It's all silver. But also because they're very easily divisible. So for example, 4 quarters has the exact same amount of silver that 10 dimes would have. 4 quarters has the exact same amount of silver that 2 half dollars would have. And that one $1 piece that's a silver coin would have, meaning like a 90% silver coin that was minted by the US, right? So they're very easily divisible, right? You can break them down into small parts, and those small parts are going to be equal to, when combined together, to that whole part. I always like to say, because people ask me, why can't we preserve our wealth in diamonds? And the reason I say that it's not a good idea to preserve wealth in diamonds is because diamonds are not very divisible. When you have, like, let's say for example, a 10-carat diamond. A 10-carat diamond is very expensive. It would have a lot of value to it. But you take that 10-carat diamond and you break it down into 10 1-carat diamonds, then when you add the value of those 10 1-carat diamonds, it's not going to equal to the value of the 1 10-carat diamond. When it comes to silver, even constitutional silver, when you break them down into equal amounts, when you combine all of those amounts together, it's still equal to the same value as the whole that you broke down. Now, one thing that you want to remember is that if you want to convert into pure ounces how much constitutional silver you need, it would be roughly $1.40 in constitutional silver would equal 1 full ounce of pure silver. So 4 quarters and 4 dimes has the same amount of silver in it that 1 full troy ounce of silver has. All right? Now, which is better? It all depends, in my opinion, on the spot price that you're paying. I've often said that silver is silver is silver, right? So if you can get this at a better spot price than you can get this, then I would get this, especially if I was just starting off. Because if you're first starting off, my opinion would be is you want to get your weight up. You want to get as much as you can for as cheap as you can. Why? Because silver is silver is silver. And remember that if you break this down into 10 equal pieces, each of those 10 equal pieces will be worth what this one whole piece is worth. It doesn't degrade the value in it. However, this is a lot more barterable. But I want to give you a quick example of how it is that right now I would not purchase any constitutional silver right now, because I believe that the premium is way too high. And I'm going to show you how to do that. So on this screen, as you can see, I went ahead and brought up SD Bullion. And I went ahead and brought up what they're charging for a roll of quarters that are 90% silver. As you can see here on this screen, this is a 1953 quarter. They're offering a roll of quarters, which brings 40 quarters for $221.84. Now, how do you find out how much you're actually paying per ounce? Good question. So since this roll right here brings 40 quarters, you divide that by how much? How many quarters or how many dollars equals 1 pure ounce of silver? 6, right? Okay, 6. So every 6 quarters equals 1 pure ounce of silver. So you divide that 40 by 6. That means that that roll of quarters, look at that terrible number. But anyways, that means that that roll of quarter that you're buying for $221.88 has, let's say, 6.7 ounces of silver in it. Right? So you're paying $221.88 for 6.7 ounces of silver. So all we have to do is remember that number. So we're going to take the 221.88 and divide it by 6.7. Now this is what you're paying for every ounce of silver in that roll of quarters. You're paying $33.11 out the door. That is what you are paying for the pure silver in those quarters. Now let's go ahead and take a look and see what they're charging for just a regular round of pure silver, of 0.99 silver or 0.999 silver. Let's go over here. And as you can see right here, they are charging $28.23 out the door for 1 ounce silver rounds. So you tell me, which would you rather get? If you were starting out, which would you rather get? If you want to get your weight up, which would you rather get right now? Now, there have been times in the past that junk silver or constitutional silver has had a much lower premium than silver rounds. So right now, if it were me, to answer your question, if I were going to be buying silver and I'm just starting out and I want to get my weight up, I would rather buy silver rounds than junk silver because you're saving roughly $5 in premium over paying for junk silver. All right, so I hope that that answered that question, and thank you very much for asking that question, sending that email. And I do want to apologize to those of you that waited a while to get a response, but I hope that this is helping more people than just those that went ahead and emailed me the question. So on to the next one. Are food grade buckets with gamma seals good for long-term storage? Are they really airtight? Where do you get gamma seal bucket lids? Now, I would not use gamma lids as the main seal for long-term food storage, meaning this is a gamma lid. Just take a look here. This is a gamma lid. For those of you that don't know what it is just a lid that you're able to twist on and twist off of a 5-gallon bucket or one of those bigger buckets that you've seen me show on my videos where I store my flour, my rice, and things like that. But I only use those buckets to store for things that I'm using actively, not to store for long term. So usually the things that I have in those buckets that have a gamma lid are things that I use on a regular basis and that I rotate out. So they're not there for long term, meaning for years. I would not use them for long term storage unless you were using a Mylar bag inside the bucket as well. So if you went ahead and packaged, let's say, rice in a Mylar bag inside of a 5-gallon bucket, and of course you added your oxygen absorber and you sealed it up and everything, and then you decided to put a gamma lid on it that twists on and off. That way when you decided to open your rice, that all you had to do was just slice the top of the Mylar bag and then put on your lid and take it off as you're actively using it, that's fine. But I would not use just the seal on a gamma lid in order to seal the contents in there with an oxygen absorber and nothing else protecting it. All right, it's something that I've never done because that seal can fail. And if that seal fails and you don't know about it and you open that up 20 years later, who's to know whether that food in there is any good? So I'd rather be on the safe side. I'd rather use the Mylar bag with oxygen absorber, put it in a bucket with a lid. It could be a gamma lid if you like, or just a regular lid. And if you are looking for gamma lids, they're available on Amazon. They were really easy for me to find in the past at Lowe's or Home Depot, but the last few times that I've looked for them there, they haven't had any. But I do know that they sell them on Amazon. They are a little bit pricey, but they do sell them on Amazon last time that I checked. All right, on to the next one. This is a really good question. I am building a storage building in my backyard as I need a bigger space to allow me to prep more. The thing is, I live in Texas, and hot weather is what concerns me about that. Other than insulating the storage building, what can I do to make sure that our food doesn't go rancid in the heat? Now, ladies and gentlemen, this is a problem depending on where you live. If you live in a very hot area, like in some parts of Texas, this is a problem. But this is what I would do. I'm going to tell you two things about this, but the primary thing to answer the question directly, this is what I would do. Instead of going out there and investing like on a storage unit, you know, the ones that have temperature controlled storage units, what I would do if I have my own land is I would build a shed just like this person says here that they are doing. However, I would build that shed with 6-inch walls all the way around, meaning that my walls are going to be constructed of 6-inch lumber, all right, 2x6s. Same thing with the floor, same thing with the ceiling or the roof. Okay, so there's going to be 6-inch all the way around. And then what I would do is just one of two things. I would insulate it either with spray insulation, hire someone to come and spray it, or I would go to Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever you have in your area, and I would buy those foam sheet insulations, right? The sheets of insulation that are foam, that are like 2 inches thick. They're like 4 by 8 by 2 inches thick. And I would insulate the walls using that, all 6 inches. You're going to have 6 inches of insulation all around that structure, the inside of that structure. And then I would make sure that I seal it very well, meaning that no air can come in or go out. What you have just done is you've just built a refrigerator without the cooling system. That's what you've done. Actually, you've built a really good refrigerator without the cooling system. Then what I would do is I would just purchase one of those cheap 5,000 BTU air conditioners. I would install it in there. Of course, you would have to have a window opening so that you can install the air conditioner. But I would have no other windows in there except for that air conditioner. And ladies and gentlemen, I'll tell you what, I've never done this, but I've talked to some people that have, and that air conditioner will keep the temperature in there nice and cool, and it won't cost a lot of electricity. Because if you have it well sealed, meaning no air in and no air out, and all you're doing is recirculating that air that is in there with that air conditioner, it's not going to take that much electricity to keep it cool because you have 6 inches of insulation all the way around. That is what I would do if I were facing this predicament right here, or this dilemma. All right. Another thing that I wanted to talk about is that I'm in the middle of doing an experiment. It's already 2 years old. I'm hoping to bring it all the way through to next winter. And that is, I've left several types of foods properly packaged, but in the elements. Meaning that I have rice, I have pasta, I have beans that are properly packaged, you know, vacuum sealed with oxygen absorbers in them. But I've left them, one of them I left in its original package in my truck's floor, under my seat. Just left it there. It's been there for over 2 years now, right? And then I have some others that are packed in my trailer. And as you all know, I live in Alaska. It gets extremely cold here in the wintertime. And the hottest parts of the summer, I would say maybe hit 80 degrees or so. So it's not that great of an experiment for the heat side of things. However, it is a very large fluctuation in temperature. Think about it, -40 all the way up to like 80, 85. That's a fluctuation of 120, 125 degrees in temperature. And I've been checking on these products and they look like they're doing well. Okay, so next winter, I'm going to go ahead and take one of those out and share with you and show you what it looks like. And then I'm going to go put it back in the same place. And we're going to check on it every year after that. I personally think that really dried goods, rice, beans, wheat berries, oats, that are properly packaged will survive in extreme environments, to include the heat, as long as you keep it out of the sunlight. I personally think that. I cannot prove that to you, ladies and gentlemen, because I don't have food that meets that classification stored away for that long. But we're going to go ahead and do the experiment starting next year and then every year after that. But I do believe that those kinds of foods will last in those extreme weather climates as long as they're properly stored. And of course, keep them away from rodents. Make sure the sun doesn't hit them. Make sure, if possible, that they're not in a very humid area. All right, ladies and gentlemen, so that's my answer for this question. I truly do hope that that helps. But my first thing is if I was that concerned and I was going to build a structure anyways, spend a few extra dollars at first to get it really well insulated and sealed. And then, like I said, I would be surprised if it cost you more than $5 or $10 a month to keep that structure cool in the inside, as long as you're not going in and out of it all the time. All right, ladies and gentlemen, here's the next one. Hello, AP. I canned 6 quarts of lamb. I added water to the jars, but failed to take into consideration the amount of fat and natural juices in the meat. This caused the fat and liquid to boil out during processing. All of the jars sealed, but I am fearful that they should not be stored for long term due to the fat that must be between the lid and the jar. Have you had this happen before? And did you keep the jars? Should I refrigerate them and then use them up? That is a great question. That has happened to me before, ladies and gentlemen. That is a mistake that a lot of new people that are starting in canning do, and that's fine. It's happened to me before, and with my experience, that meat has never gone bad. As long as you got a proper seal, that meat should be good, as long as it was properly pressure canned to the right weight and, of course, the right temperature. And if you pressure canned it to the right weight, it should have reached the right temperature, which is a little bit above 240 degrees Fahrenheit. Now, what I always say, ladies and gentlemen, is try it out. If you are afraid that something did not come out right, go ahead and use it up, but keep one can out or keep out 2 jars. And then open one up a month later. Open one up 2 months later. That way you can feel comfortable with knowing that if that ever happens to you again, that it will be good. But in my experience, whenever you do any cold pack or raw pack method prior to pressure canning, you want to make sure that you don't add any liquids. I only add a little bit of salt to give the meat a little more flavor, to get that flavor to come out, and that's it, and it produces plenty of liquid by itself. So don't add any extra liquid whenever you're doing cold or raw pack method. But like I said in the past, I have made that same mistake in the past, and it's always come out good. I've had meat that I did that with where most of the liquid came out of it and a piece of the meat was still, above the liquid and turned all dry, and it was still good, and I ate it years after it was processed. What you will notice is if you do that is that the part of the meat that looks like it's above the juice or the broth is going to get really dry, and it might even turn like into a darker color or into a grayish color. I've never had any bad experience with eating any of that meat, because I knew that it had a proper seal on it. I knew that I went ahead and processed it to the right temperature and weight, so I had no problem with it. One thing that I always do whenever I do eat something that I pressure can is I always make sure that I heat it up really good for a few minutes to make sure that it's good to go. All right, here's the next one, ladies and gentlemen. Rudy, wanting your thoughts on storing dog food long term. I realize you said not to because you had bad luck with it. However, I was thinking about putting it in a Mylar bag with extra oxygen absorbers. Do you think with a lack of oxygen it might keep for 5 to 6 years? Now, I'll never store dog food, dry dog food again for long term because I did have a bad experience with it. Ended up throwing away a whole bunch, like 250 pounds or so, because I think it will go rancid. However, all right, I'm going to give you 2 answers to this, A and B. Answer A is go ahead and try it. Put away a bag of dog food like you're saying you're going to put it away and divide it into like 5 Mylar bags. And then after 1 year, try it and see if it's good. And then open up your other one 2 years later. I know that you want an answer now, but this will actually take you 5 years to find out. But try it yourself and see if it will work, okay? Because I may be wrong. I may be wrong. And your method that you're using right now, it may be right. But we won't know unless you try it. What I would recommend for dog or for pet food is canned dog food or canned cat food. That's how we prep for our dogs and for our cat. We also prep for them in another way. But canned foods that has dog food or cat food in it, they're pretty much processed the same way that human canned food is processed. They're pasteurized, right? They're pressure canned. They're put in big pressure canners, and that's how they're actually cooked. And then there you go. It has a seal on it, and they're pressure canned. They'll last for years past their best buy date. Another way that you can prep for dog food is, ladies and gentlemen, when you're eating dinner, what does your dog always do? If you have an untrained dog, they're always begging, right? If we ever run out of dog food or cat food during some kind of an event or crisis, the dogs are just going to be eating our scraps. All right, they're just going to be eating our scraps. And if you go hunting or anything like that, guess what? You've got the heart, you've got the liver, you've got the kidneys, you've got all of those internal organs that we here in Western society don't usually like to eat, but that dogs would love to eat. So that's what I would do as well. Keep rice, keep oats. I keep vegetable protein. Some of my very first preps that I ever had was that nasty TVP, right? Which I won't eat. But guess what? The dogs will eat it. They don't care that it's TVP. So rice, TVP, any kind of other protein. If you have meat proteins that you want to share with them, that's fine. If you shoot a squirrel out in the backyard, you can take that squirrel and put it in the pot after you skin it. They'll eat that. So, I think that dogs and pets are going to be very easy to take care of if the time ever came where you needed to feed them something other than their regular kibbles or dog food or cat food because it wasn't available. All right, and the last one, ladies and gentlemen, how do you maintain the integrity of the intent you have in storage containers, trailers, and sheds outside in Alaska? Okay, so I remember this question, and it falls in line with the previous question we had, the one before last, with putting stuff out in a shed. Now, in Alaska, I think it would be easier to store things outside in a shed as long as you kept it away from rodents, right, or any creatures that may want to get into it, because the temperature here is a lot cooler. Even during the summer here, we have pretty cool temperatures. So the trailer that I have some stuff in this, it's parked under a whole bunch of trees. So even in the summer when the sun is out, it doesn't really hit that trailer very much. And the trailer is white. So whatever sun does hits it, most of it reflects back out. So even when I open that trailer in the summertime, the inside is pretty cool, to tell you the truth. And it is very, very dry. So there's no humidity in there because even though I hit that trailer with a tree once that I fell, it still kept its seal, and the integrity on the inside is very good. It doesn't get humid in there or anything like that. No rodents or anything like that get in there. So I think here in Alaska is a lot easier. So if you have like a storage container or something like that, what I would do is I would take the extra step and go ahead and insulate the walls. But instead of insulating the walls with like 6 inches of insulation, I would maybe only put 2 inches of insulation on the walls, the floor, and the ceiling. And I think personally that would be just fine here in Alaska. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's going to be it for today. Thank you very much to all of you that sent in those questions. Please accept my apologies for those that I replied to in such a late manner, because some of the questions that I had in there were still back from December, believe it or not. But I am caught up. Thank you to all of you also that are now sending your intel to the akprepper@gmail.com email account that I set up. That's working out very well. It's very easy for me to be able to organize and read through emails in those 2 different accounts, having them set up that way. So thank you very much. I have one last question, actually, that I have to share with you, so stand by. So the last video that I did, not the last one, but I think the one before, it was like a 1 minute and 17-second video that I did about the EBL batteries. Ladies and gentlemen, I did that video because I wanted to share that information with you, but I didn't think that I ought to do a full-blown video telling you why lithium is in shortage, that I think that we're going to have to pay more for lithium, just sharing with you some information that I have. So I said, you know what, let me just do this 1 minute video real quick, try to condense it, that way people can actually watch it and ingest it and understand that maybe they ought to be stocking up on batteries. Great. But someone always has to ask, how much of a kickback do you get for selling those batteries? Ladies and gentlemen, I was not sponsored by EBL. They did not pay me to do that video. I did that video because I wanted to share that information with you. All right, so I'm saying this because I know that a majority of the AP community members, you already know this, but we always have people coming in new. And that's great because it means that people are looking for information that they want to use to prepare. But I am not sponsored by EBL. I did not do this video so that EBL can pay me. Let me go ahead and tell you right now, for those of you that are new, who my sponsors are. Actually, I don't have sponsors. I have affiliates. All right, sponsors pay you for doing videos. All right, affiliates, you tell people about something that you love. At least in my case, I only tell you stuff about stuff that I love, people that I'm affiliate with. And then if you want to use their link, you can, or you don't have to. All right, so I have no sponsors. Actually, going through my emails today, I probably deleted at least 12 to 15 emails from people that wanted to sponsor the video so that I can put up a short video or ad or something saying to play this video game or to get this smartphone, whatever. No, I'm only going to affiliate or sponsor something or someone that I really believe in. You all know that I love nutrient survival. So here you go. Here's your disclaimer. To all the new people, here is your disclaimer. All right? I am affiliated with Nutrient Survival. Why? Because it's the best nutrient-dense survival food that you can store for long-term in the market, period. That's all there's to it, right? That's why. I'm affiliated with Amazon. Yes, I know. Half the people in the world hate Amazon. Half the people in the world love Amazon. I don't love or hate them. I use them. All right? One of the reasons I like Amazon is because half of the stuff that I have, ladies and gentlemen, I wouldn't be able to have if it wasn't for Amazon. Now, you can hate them or love them, but they do give a lot of people opportunities to start a business. Whatever. I can sit here and advocate for them all you want or all I want. It wouldn't make a difference. I use them because most of the things that I prep with, I would say at least 50%, if not more, of the things that you see me review or prep are things that I've gotten off of Amazon, and without them, I wouldn't be able to get them for two reasons. One, because they just wouldn't ship it up here. Like, for example, Blue Eddy, the company, they won't ship a Blue Eddy up here, right? They won't ship one up here. I was able to get one shipped up here from Amazon, all right? Or because if they would ship up here, it's because the price is so much for shipping that I wouldn't do it. For example, the Energy, you know, the Energy Kodiak solar generator, I could purchase one of those if I paid them a large shipping amount and if I gave up my warranty to that. If Amazon sold the Kodiak Energy, I would buy it from Amazon because I would be able to get it. All right, so I am affiliated with Amazon because of that. I am affiliated with Blue Eddy. Why? Because I love Blue Eddy. I think their product is great, right? I have nothing but good things to say about Blue Eddy. And I'm affiliated with SD Bullion. Why? Because I think SD Bullion is a great company that helps people get precious metals at a pretty decent price, and they're debt-free, which means that the likelihood of you sending them your money and they going bankrupt before they ship you the stuff that you order from them is very small, in my opinion. All right, so for all of the newcomers, those are all of my affiliates. Yes, I get paid from every one of those if you use my link. But have you ever once heard me ask you to send me money? Not once. Have you ever once heard me say, hey, go ahead and leave a tip on that PayPal account? Not once. All you've ever heard me say is, if you want to support the channel, use my links. And if you want to donate 15 to 30 seconds of your time, let an ad or two run through, because ad revenue from YouTube does help me do what I do. And I can use a lot of that money to do reviews like these battery reviews. Oh, AP, but you get to keep the batteries. Of course, ladies and gentlemen. He who does not work shall not eat. All right, what time is it? I've been here right now. I know I'm going on a rant, but I've been here for 5 hours. It's 8:30 in the morning. I've been here since 8:30 in the morning. I've been here since 3:30 in the morning in the bunker, going through all of the emails that our community members send, and I've answered most of them, ones that I had to answer, and I even went ahead and did a video to share with you the questions that I thought may help you. So ladies and gentlemen, especially, I know that those of you that have been here for a while have told me several times, AP, you don't need to explain this. But we always get a slew of new members that have to understand. All right, so to you, what is it? UAWSUX, right? UAW sucks. I don't get a kickback from EW or EBL. I don't get a kickback from them, all right? Have a great day. Remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper. I am out. God bless you all. Happy Friday. We'll see you this afternoon.